Were you ever that 1 in 1 million? If so, what's your story? I have an unknown type of autosomal dominant intranuclear myopathy. My type of it is so rare that they haven't even seen it before. Getting diagnosed was a multi-year struggle. They pretty much had to rule out everything else. It doesn't feel great to be in this club by myself. Countless blood draws, MRIs, CAT scans and a Bayesian genetic test. So far, it looks like my father and I are the only ones with it. Yay. Edit. Thank you guys for all the kind messages and support. I really do appreciate it. If anyone is going through the struggle of getting a diagnosis, message me. I can't help with the diagnosis, but I can help with the feelings. Second edit. As a researcher has pointed out, this isn't really rare. Just a type that hasn't really been seen in the population yet. Meaning there is certainly more people out there, just not tested or diagnosed yet. In the future, I'll probably be 1 in 50,000 to 1 in 100,000. Sorry to make everyone think I was 1 in a million. Diagnosed with an extremely rare liver disease, primary hyperoxaluria. Some 300 people in the United States currently have it. Basically pass a lot of kidney stones and need a double transplant to fix. No sure about the odds on this one, but I survived a non-survivable plane crash. I was on an old PO2, famous for being very safe and uncrushable, on a tour of the desert in western China. When I was like 7, my father's friend who hosted me and piloted the plane didn't survive, but somehow I got out with a concussion and apparently passed out for almost a day in the middle of the desert, in the wreckage of the crash, 50 kilometers from the town/airport. On the edge of the desert. The people who found me were some tree planters. They plant greens in the desert to protect towns from sandstorm. A lot of people live in these desert towns in China do this. Found me on their way picking up a shipment, and the only reason they looked was BC they were making a bet on how fast the egg would cook in the sand, and went off the road to test. Edit. First thing first, according to legends, 15 minutes. I never tested it though. So, according to my dads, the theory that I might have lived was because the plane was mostly made out of fabrics and wood. So when the plane crashed, the front half collapsed and took the majority of the impact. Though I got knocked out, I was probably covered under the wreckage and in the shades. It cooled me off enough to survive for a day or so. I've got the middle toes on both feet webbed. So did Stalin. Quack. I'm allergic to the cold. Like literally. I get intense hives, swelling, I pass out, and throw up. Doesn't even have to be freezing. Below 45 degrees without a jacket, and I can't do it. I have to carry an EpiPen with me in the event that I drink something too cold or have a severe reaction. Not sure if this is a blessing or a curse, but I'm an extremely tall human. 7 feet 3. Yes really. Not sure how rare that is. I have symmetric bilateral coloboma of the iris and retina. Essentially, my pupils are shaped like keyholes instead of circles. A single coloboma is pretty rare, double coloboma is even more rare, and double symmetrical, well, you get it. My ex was struck by lightning several times and lived. Died in a car accident though, so not as lucky as he claimed to be. I have a very rare skin disease that only 1 in a million people get. I've been told that I'll probably never meet another person in my lifetime with it. Haley disease for those interested. Edit. For those asking. One point I was diagnosed by a team of dermatologists. They had to take a biopsy of one of my many outbreaks. A picture of that particularly horrible rash is currently in a medical journal, or so I've been told. 2. Yes, it is a very painful disease. 3. Yes, I get steroid injections for it. I also get Botox injections to control sweating and prevent some of my outbreaks. 4. No, I don't know if you have this disease. You have to get a biopsy. 5. Yes, it's inherited. My mother was a carrier, and I've been told my grandmother had the disease for more than half her life. I slept wrong one night and pinched a nerve in my neck so severely I lost the right side of my body. It just went silent like it wasn't there for months. I woke up in the worst pain I've ever experienced and couldn't talk, move or do anything. The ear doctor thought I was having a stroke. My doctor had never seen a case as severe as mine, and it was purely a freak accident. Recovery took months, but I have use of my leg and hand again, with some numbness. Other than pain and spasms, I'm mostly back to normal. Got a rare, but potentially deadly rash from a medication. I laughed when I first saw the bottle with the warning, and said knowing my luck I'd get it. I did. Ended up in a burn unit with my skin sloughing off. Not a fun week. I was struck by lightning while talking on a landline. This was in the early 90s. Lightning struck the telephone line and traveled through the handset to my ear. My parents drove me to the ER. I couldn't talk very well. My brain knew what I wanted to say, but my mouth didn't want to say it. I had a terrible stutter. My doctor told me that I had had a dose of good, old-fashioned electroshock therapy. My speech was normal the next day, but I get a terrible headache whenever a thunderstorm comes through. For my 7th birthday we went to Disneyland. They just happened to be having a car a day giveaway when we were there. For my 7th birthday, Mickey Mouse gave me a Pontiac Firebird. I had 8 wisdom teeth. The dentist had never seen anything like it and called the whole office in to marvel at my teeth. I was in 2 separate car crashes in 2 separate cars in less than 45 minutes apart. I was on Tinder and was talking to this guy. He was supposed to meet me for dinner. I texted him and no answer. Then I texted him on Tinder. Said that he couldn't make it. However, I got a text back from the number. It wasn't the guy that I thought I texted. It was the actor Jared Butler. I thought he was lying until he FaceTimed me. Nice guy. Edit. Well, I didn't think this post would blow up. First, I didn't go on a date with him instead. He lives on the West Coast and I live on the East Coast. I didn't keep his number because I respect his privacy. When he FaceTimed me, he was super casual and asked me why I was using Tinder and he wished me luck on it. I was so freakishly allergic to ant and bee venom as a child that a single sting from a single little common black ant put me into anaphylactic shock. When my allergist was preparing to start immunotherapy for me, he found that the in-office lab equipment wasn't sensitive enough to measure the infinitesimally small amount of allergen with which to start my titration. So he had to send a sample of my blood to Johns Hopkins so that their lab could determine how much to give me. I did immunotherapy for several years to reach an immune response level at which it would be safe for me to basically exist in a non-frozen climate. Good news, though, I'm good now. I've had a few run-ins with ants and wasps since my immunotherapy and my body didn't freak out and shut down, and research indicates that if it hasn't done that after this long, I'm probably safe for maybe forever. I don't have EpiPens, and I'm not overly afraid of ants or bees. Edit. Whoa. Overnight response. Thanks for the silver. To answer a few questions. I live in Florida. I'm not outdoorsy, but stinging things are everywhere. It is, in fact, the Australia of North America. No, my parents would not move me to the frozen tundra to be a nomadic reindeer herder at my behest. Little black ants do, in fact, sting. Several Lasius subspecies have stingers and venom. When an ant bites you, that's using their mandibles, and does not deliver venom. When an ant stings you, that's using their butt needle and delivers the pain juice. Most ants do one or the other. Fire ants do both at the same time. I did some research a while back and found an academic paper that indicated that if I haven't had a reaction after this many years, the likelihood that I ever would again is vanishingly rare. I wish I could find it again right now, but I'm already late getting ready for work, so if I find it later I will post it. I feel completely safe having a cell phone instead of an EpiPen. I once guessed a 6-digit random combination on the first try. It was the only try I planned to give, as a kind of scratch pad whatever moment. Had 2 11 cm benign tumors growing in my spine, resulting in gradual paralysis from my chest down. They had no idea how the tumors formed. Surgery took 11 hours, when they thought it would take 4, because the tumors were so complexly woven throughout my spine. I now have pretty much half a spine and chronic pain, but it'd take that over losing my life from paralysis and being unable to breathe. I have completely unexplained hearing loss in my left ear. I had a cyst in it when I was 6, and the surgery to remove it and fix the ear was successful. When I was about 12, I woke up one morning with a killer headache and ear ringing, and after 3 days it went away and so did my hearing. Doctors did multiple examinations and an MRI, and they said it should be totally functional. It just isn't. 1 in a million case. No idea on the actual numbers, but I was born with 12 fingers. Identical extra digits on each hand. Edit, this blew up, so some backstory. I no longer have the fingers. My parents elected to have them removed shortly after birth. There was a video of when everyone found out, but my aunt has lost it over multiple moves. The fingers were functional and well behaved, as if they were part of the intended 10. I have a scar on each pinky from where they were removed. As an extra fun fact, my older sister had 2 extra toes that did not actually grow and show. They found this out in high school when she broke her foot and they went in for x-rays and found that she has extra bones in her foot that just never grew out into the toes. Edit 2 sorry everyone, I posted this then went to bed. Couple common questions. No, I'm not from Alabama or the South at all. The fingers well worked and bent and functioned normally. They had bones, muscles, tendons, blood vessels. My hand is shaped completely normal. The fingers were like a double pack of Twix where they are side by side vertical bar. The only thing that it would not have been able to do was move sideways very far as there was not a lot of webbing between original pinky and extra pinky. Fun fact #2. This all comes from my dad's side of the family. My dad is born with 2 extra teeth than my sister and I have different moms. I'll try to answer any other questions that I did not cover in this. Well, I just woke up to a ton more questions. My parents decided to remove them to basically just save a child the hardship of being made fun of, which I fully understand. Kids can be cruel and I'm sure having 12 fingers is just ammo for them. The fingers were removed by being tied off as others have mentioned from similar situations in the thread. And no, I don't have any proof other than the scars, but they're tiny. The bigger of the two just looks like a tiny mosquito bite on my left pinky. The right one looks the same, but is not raised. Also, this is now by far my most upvoted comment and now I'm going to be known as the 12 finger guy on Reddit.